So this is probably really dangerous, but I'm filming while driving. I'm coming from Buffalo. I have no idea how close this is to my face, Jesus Christ. But I've really had like some thoughts in my head about divorce, and it's really been kind of bothering me a little bit because I feel like I'm gonna be on the defensive end a little bit because I'm American, obviously, and we have like, well, other people who are American are going to watch this, obviously, because I'm gonna post on YouTube, duh. But then I'm gonna have some people who I know from other countries gonna watch it, and they're like, okay, yeah, Americans are known to have like the worst divorce rate ever, blah blah blah. And I just have to say, like, recently I've been getting into arguments with some people about, you know, the divorce rate, and we've discussed how Americans approach relationships. And me being an international relationship, my boyfriend being from India, this is becoming more of an argument more and more. But yeah, divorce. We have like a 50% rate. 1 in 2 marriages fail, blah blah blah, people get divorced and all that jazz. Now, my defense for this is the American way. I guess this is gonna be like, oh, USA and patriotic and shit like that, but United States and being American, we're all about trying to be the best, and we have a really bad fucking ego, and we're like totally egotistical and shit, which I'm aware of it, and most Americans are aware of this. And if I'm offending any Americans out there, maybe this is a rude awakening and you may not like it, but I mean, we are arrogant son of a bitches when it comes to being, you know, American and stuff like that. But I've had pretty much firsthand of experience with people from other countries and what they think of Americans. Like, I've lived in Australia for 6 months, I've done the cruise ship life, and I was one of very few Americans that worked on ships, so I was around a lot of people from different countries all over the world, and also being in India and getting the first-hand approach of my boyfriend's family and what they pretty much think of Americans. So I have a really good outside look of what people think of Americans. And what really comes to mind is how obviously politics, you can't touch politics because it just starts this crazy fucking argument. And the next thing down from that is divorce. People bring up how we're so, you know, we can't make marriages work. Based on our mentality, on how we always want to be better and we always want to be the best, I think that really transcends into our relationships as well, because if we're raised and we're kind of taught all our lives, okay, you have to do better, you have to be the best, you have to do better in your life. Why the hell am I going to get married? Okay, well, let me start that over. If I'm gonna be married, why the hell am I going to stay in a marriage that I'm unhappy with? Like, fucking shit changes down the line. Like, people change. Like, once you get married, like, shit just, for some reason, you know, things flip, and, you know, people become unhappy, and they get bored with the same person, and then people start cheating, start abusing, you know, physical, mental, emotional abuse, and verbal abuse, and all these things happen. And, you know, like, if I'm a woman and my husband's beating me, why the fuck am I going to stay with that person, right? And it's same thing, if I'm a man and that bitch is using me for my money and pretty much like using me and, you know, emotionally abusing me or whatever, it goes both ways. Like, there's no who's the better sex in this. It's definitely not who's the better sex in this, for sure. But what I'm gonna say is, Americans have that mentality, I don't have to put up with that shit. And some people are like really resilient and they'll put up with it and they'll think, oh, it's gonna get better, it's gonna get better. Or I can, you know, I'm gonna be with my husband through thick and thin and this and that. But it's like, okay, where do you draw the line? Do you draw the line at, okay, well, I'll be with my husband until he rapes me one night, or I'll be with my husband until he beats me, or I'm gonna be with my wife until, you know, she's fucked the third guy or something like that. Like, you never know. Like, these circumstances are just so stupid, and it's like, maybe my views on marriage are really fucking skewed because of my firsthand, like, experience. I mean, my parents are still married. My parents have been married for 31 years. So I don't come from a divorced family, but I don't know, like, I just think that, you know what, I want to be married. I definitely want to be married, but I'm not going to stay in a marriage that I'm unhappy with, or I get abused, or I get cheated on. and I can't trust someone or whatever, but I mean, and this is just saying like maybe Americans rush into marriage, but I don't know. Either way, I'm just kind of defending, you know, my American divorce rate. It's just like, I remember my boyfriend's family saying, you know, she's only going to be with you for a couple years, because that's how Americans are. They're greedy and they use people. And then I'm just like, wait a minute, we're just boyfriend and girlfriend. We're not married. We've been together for a couple of months, and they want me to walk down the aisle with this fucker. And it's like, maybe because Americans always date or something. Like, the culture is definitely different, but I just did not like being judged as, oh, because I'm American, I can't, you know, I can't stay with somebody. But if I'm unhappy and the relationship isn't working, why am I going to stay in it? And I'm going to get out of it if I'm unhappy. I'm not going to get married to somebody that's going to make me unhappy. So yeah, you're damn right. Like, yeah, I'm going to be choosy, and I'm going to be, you know, a little bit picky. So if I'm not married, I have a right to just date and just be like, okay, you know, this isn't working out. But then, you know, people get attached and, oh God, whatever. So that was my little rant on marriage, and I don't know when this is going up, but yeah.